It is mind-boggling. I truly am shocked. I mean, I know that there's like a lot of fucking dipshits in mainstream media. I don't know why diversity of opinion literally means that you have diversity of opinion means that you need to have some like baboons in your fucking op-ed side. Like, why can't you just be like a normal neoliberal and be fucking annoying in other ways? Talking about how, I don't know, global capitalism is actually really good when we enslave like half the third world, and it's actually better for them to be enslaved, or like child labor protections should not exist. Like, why can't you be one of those fucking neolibs? Why do you have to be the fucking neolib that's like, actually, I know that Robert Redfield is personally, secretly very upset at Anthony Fauci. There's an international conspiracy among scientists who are afraid that their grants are going to be removed if they speak out against the real cause of this virus, which is something I totally am speculating off of redacted State Department propaganda that originally came out and was disseminated by Donald Trump and Mike Pompeo, and then was taken back and changed. And all of this is real.
Are not going to say that either. Now you have a lot of people sort of on the right wing media and the MAGA media.
Yeah, this is from March. This is
credibility with the mainstream media, and
this is what I am talking about when I say that the novel coronavirus and its origins were being traced back, as scientists do. This is one way to combat pandemics, and basically, this is the paper that was conducted. This is a study that was conducted that showed that that COVID was not man-made and not purposely manipulated or a laboratory construct. Is WAPO right-leaning? I mean, it's mainstream media. Of course, there's going to be a lot of
I'm just like in that weird space
elements.
where like I wrote a book about, U.S.-China relationships, so I had all this good reporting, and I'm not MAGA media because I criticize Trump in my columns all the time. So I am mainstream media, but I'm saying we should look at the lab, and it messes with people's minds because they're like, oh, why is he doing this? Why is Josh pushing the lab? I'm not pushing the lab.
Because he's so brave, dude. He's so brave. That's why he's doing it.
That's the problem today with these rigid ideologies.
Exactly. Everyone's on teams. It's all factional.
Yes.
But I don't care.
Tell me this motherfucker's anti-China sentiment is not ideology, like, personally. Come on, dude. I mean, there's a lot to fucking criticize China on, okay? There's a lot. And I criticize China plenty on this broadcast. But, like, what he's doing right now is motivated by American imperialist ideology, American imperialist thought. Straight the fuck up.
I don't even care if the lab accident theory is true. If the natural origin theory is true, then great. I will leave the ticker tape parade.
You defend China mostly? Yeah, like when I talk about the genocide against Uyghurs, or when I talk about like the insane fucking freedom of speech restrictions and how terrible that is. All of that stuff is me defending China.
Celebrating Peter Daszak and Anthony Fauci down, Fifth Avenue. I'm happy to do that. All I'm saying is that we have to also look into these labs, and that we can't hire the best friends of the lab to look into the labs because they have a clear conflict of interest and they fucked it up already.
Catch new.
Yeah, it's no, they fucked it up, dude. There's a conflict of interest, dude. Oh, okay. Great stuff, dude. Great fucking stuff by this dipshit. Okay. Change the order to COVID Hogs reacts first. Tucker Carlson here's some more.
We did give in.
So Tucker Carlson last night in his a complete Jokar moment decided to talk about mask wearing and got upset at his said that mask wearing is like endangering your child, things of that nature. Let's take a look.
This grotesque version of Halloween went on for more than a year, and it's still going on. Not even Tony Fauci still pretends that masks are medically necessary. Instead, masks are purely a sign of political obedience, like Kim Il-sung pins in Pyongyang. We wear them because we have to. The only people who wear masks voluntarily outside are zealots and neurotics. How neurotic are they? Well, we know. A Pew survey from last March found that 64% of white Americans who classify themselves as liberal or very liberal have been diagnosed with an actual mental health condition. And you see them everywhere when you walk down the street in any major city. If you dare to go on foot from Union Station to the Capitol, for example, in Washington without wearing a mask, angry Biden voters will snort at you in judgment. How could you? They're saying from behind the gauze. How could you? That's the question we should be asking of them in return. The rest of us should be snorting at them first. They're the aggressors. It's our job to brush them back.
I'm sorry, what? Wait, so fucking people who have been, I mean, he is saying liberalism is a mental disorder, okay? So that's what he's saying. I don't really care about the ableism as much as I do about like the ultimate, like the ableism is just par for the course. Tucker Carlson, obviously he's going to be fucking ableist. Like what? Are you crazy? He's a white supremacist. Like he literally says insane amounts of racist shit every night. So, you know, that part is expected, right? The thing that I am additionally confused by on top of that is that he's saying that people who were wearing masks for the past year were always wrong. That they like he's doing a Mott and Bailey here. He's highlighting a certain part of mask wearing where you don't need to where there's studies that like have looked into mask wearing outdoors and how much of a necessity it is and all this other stuff, right? But ultimately mask wearing is still mask wearing outdoors is still decent and is the right thing to do, specifically because you might be in close contact with other people and you're going into buildings when you're outdoors. If you're just outdoors and you're alone and you're wearing a mask, like I don't do that. Like I haven't done that. I've talked about this already. Like, you know, if I'm by myself and I'm fucking walking, you know, when I used to walk fish, like when I'm not around a single person, like that's one thing. You're not supposed to, you don't need to wear a mask in your fucking car. You know what I mean? Unless you're around other people, around strangers. Like these are things that we've talked about in the past. You could, if you want to, if you're like worried about like forgetting your mask or some shit. That's the only reason why I usually do wear masks when I'm outside is because oftentimes I'll forget. But the real problem isn't people wearing masks outdoors. The real problem is Tucker Carlson fans going into Ralph's and fucking coughing on people. Tucker Carlson fans going into indoor areas and yelling about mask wearing. You're supposed to wear masks when you're fucking indoors during a pandemic. That's the problem. Hasn't he admitted before that mask wearing is scientifically proven to work? Yeah, he has. He has also talked about outdoor mask wearing as well. Here, you want to find fucking Tucker conflicting himself on this, like outdoor mask wearing? Let's look at what the BLM protests look like. I'm sure he criticized the BLM protests for people being outside. Maybe even look through to find
back and restore the society we were born in. So the next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, and we should keep doing it until wearing a mask outside is roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator. It's repulsive. Don't do it around other people. That's the message we should send because it's true. As for forcing children...
Because it's true? Why is it repulsive? What if someone wants to cover their face? What the fuck? Bro, that is some real fucking... This is so insane, dude. What a pussy. What, like, are you that triggered by fucking seeing people wear masks? At least when snowflake liberals get mad that you're not wearing a mask indoors... They have a fucking valid reason to get mad. There's absolutely nothing that, like, when I put a mask on, explain to me how that could hurt your feelings. Explain to me how I am taking away your liberties by me wearing a mask.
To wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services.
Yo, no way, dude. Yo, full Karen, dude. Next level Karen shit. Tucker Carlson wants you to call the cops if you see someone with a mask on outdoors. It's child abuse, boys. If your child is wearing a mask, you should call the cops. That's great. Fuck. Okay, this is pretty funny. This is pretty good. I can't even be mad at this. This is so psychotic. Tucker Carlson wants you to call the Child Protective Services if he's not fucking around, dude. This is actually what he believes, dude. What the fuck?
Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you are morally obligated to attempt to prevent it.
Yeah, Tucker just wants to get a good look at the children's faces, I think. Pedophile, allegedly. He's a libertarian after all. So, who knows?
If it's your own...
There is literally no, like, what... Where is the abuse, brother? You got to describe where the abuse is coming from. You know what I mean? Like, what's the abuse of wearing a mask in public? What's up? I need to understand. Like, so what's up? Where is the abuse? I can't comprehend where the abuse is coming from. It's abusing my feelings. It's hurting my feelings when I see people with masks. This is really scary. People are wearing masks in public. I don't want them. I want to see their faces. I want to take a good look at their faces. It's abuse. Incredible stuff, folks. Incredible stuff.
Own children being abused, then act accordingly. Let's say your kid's school emailed you to announce that every day after lunch, your sixth grader was going to get punched in the face by a teacher. How would you respond to that?
Tucker Carlson literally does not want your children to wear clothes. That's what this is. He does not want your children to wear clothes. You as a parent are not allowed to dress your child in a way that Tucker does not see fit. Very strange. Very strange. The libertarian is really just slipping out, Tucker. You need to dial it back, brother. Now Child Protective Services will be flooded with nonsense. Children will be put in unnecessary peril. Yeah, imagine. The full clip is worse? Oh, okay.
That is unacceptable, it is dangerous, and we should act like it, because it is. But too few of us have responded like that. We have been shamefully passive in the face of all of this. As our cities get crazier and harder to live in, so many of us have just decided to run away. Avoid conflict. I can't deal with it. Move to the suburbs. Flee to Florida. Get as far away as possible from the hyper-aggressive zealots changing everything for the worst overnight. You don't want to deal with them. So many have decided to start over somewhere else. But why? The people making these demands don't own America. They didn't build America. They didn't build anything. They can't. And they're not allowed to wreck it. And if we let them wreck our cities, why do we think they will stop there? If they can turn Brooklyn and San Francisco into uninhabitable indoctrination camps, why can't they do it to Naples or Oklahoma City or Coeur d'Alene or wherever you're planning to go? They can do it, and they will do it. Theirs is an evangelical faith. They will not stop until we make them stop. Fighting back is the only option. If we don't resist, there is no escape. So how do you resist? The first step is to say the obvious. Say it loudly, say it often. This is not about science. This is about political power. If it was about science, Fauci and Kamala Harris would be happy to hear, for example, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, discuss
a scientist. Why are scientists not hearing from Governor DeSantis, who is a scientist?
Science behind mask mandates with a Harvard professor. They would welcome that, but they hated it. So they just pulled the whole.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis sounds a lot like Ron DeScientist. I don't know. That's enough evidence for me that he must be a scientist, actually. He is. I take it back. Ron DeSantis is a scientist. He found a professor in Harvard who agrees with him. So, checkmate liberals, I think, honestly. Yeah. All of the negative consequences of mask wearing, I can't really think of any right now, but there are some if you think about it really long and hard. Anyway, listen, there is another consequence that liberals don't want you to know about, and that is at the top of every hour, there's a 60-second ad break if you watch the Hasanabi broadcast. And since it's 1 p.m., allegedly, in Pacific time, where a lot of liberals live in California, an ad break is slated to come. Now, there is a way, and liberals do not want you to know this, there is a way that you can avoid the ad breaks. And that is by subscribing with your Amazon Prime account connected to your Twitch account. You get one free Prime subscription a month. It's like taking away money from Jeff Bezos and giving it to liberals, basically. Shapiro went to Harvard. It doesn't make him right. Or you could do it with $5. KB Dan says sell out for 7 months. Break says any primers for 11. This is a liberal conspiracy. Here's the ad break now, though. You cannot avoid it. You cannot run from it, and you cannot hide.
Whole thing off YouTube. Here's part of what they refuse to let you hear. So that's now banned. Scientists talking about science. Those aren't scientists anymore. They're now dissidents. How is this happening? Well, it happens because we allow it to happen. Because we buy into their demands, because we internalize their standards. If you decide to burn an American flag in a public park tomorrow, how would...
Dude, it's great. It's like scientists, like the only scientists that matter are not like the majority of scientists that have a point of view on anything, are not like relevant experts in the field. It's the one scientist that I find that might not even be relevant or an expert in any field, let alone that one, that agrees with my point of view. That's what it is. That's what's important. Anyway.
Would they respond to that? Well, of course, they would applaud. That's your First Amendment right. You'd be fighting the tyranny of the people who created this horrifying country. How, by contrast, would they respond if you
thank you,
burned a
August
pile of
Razia,
surgical
and thank you,
masks
Jay
in a
Towns,
public
and
park
thank you,
tomorrow?
Ace41.
They probably wouldn't like it, but that's your right, too.
For the gifted subs.
Matt Walsh is host of the Matt Walsh Show, and we are honored to have him on tonight.
Oh my God, this dude is such a mega freak, dude. This dude is literally, oh God, I can't believe he has Matt Walsh on the show.
Matt, thanks so much for coming on. At what point do we stop playing along, now that this is so clearly all fake, and say, under no circumstances are you allowed to abuse my child, period?
Well, that point should have been.
Dude, Matt Walsh being around children is automatic child abuse, okay? That's literally, it's just, oh God. He ironically calls himself a theocratic fascist, this guy that Tucker has on his show. He is so fucking stupid. Oh, Jesus Christ. This guy is the reason, like, r/atheist cringe lords exist, okay? The shit that he says and justifies with a bastardized version of Christianity, centering around white Christianity, of course, is so terrible, so awful, that every time motherfuckers hear him speaking, there's like a new r/atheist, cringe lord atheist out there. Okay?
12 months ago, but it certainly should be now. I mean, this is the one thing we have to fight against primarily, is this idea that well, you might as well just put a mask on yourself, put it on your kid. It's not going to hurt anybody. It'll make them safer. Now, even the fact is, it is hurting, and for all the reasons that you gave. A lot of it's common sense, and of course, they tell us that unless you're an expert or a doctor, you're not allowed to make these common sense judgments. But obviously, if you're restricting air, especially if you're outside and you're in the middle of strenuous exercise, you put a mask on a little kid, it's going to get dirty and gross. I mean, these are common sense things. But
oh, you're restricting air, dude. Everybody knows this. Like, you know how many surgeons die a year from mask wearing, dude? I love the quickness, dude. I love when conservatives hit you with the quickness. And they're like, come on. I mean, obviously, there's no scientific basis for anything I'm saying, which is precisely why I'm going to hit you with the 1-2 punch and say this is common sense. We don't need science when there's common sense. Why substitute science for common sense? And that, my friends, is the exact same kind of rhetoric that flat earthers apply. Okay? What is all this scientific mumbo jumbo? The earth feels flat. You walk outside, you jump up, and you land back on your 2 feet. It is if you're fortunate. This is a conspiracy that the scientists do not want you to know about, but they can't stop you, brave Americans, from noticing things. Noticing things like how flat the earth feels. Lay down on the earth and you don't roll away. If you were doing that on a spherical object, you would start rolling. This is the truth that scientists do not want you to know about. But why need science or the international conspiracy when you have common sense?
But aside from that, when it comes to kids specifically, this is what makes it so repugnant, is that it was never about their own safety. It wasn't even like putting masks on kids was a misguided effort to keep them safe. No, it was about making adults feel safer around them, because the kids were never much risk for COVID. They're not much risk of spreading it, but some adults, some neurotic, cowardly adults, just feel uncomfortable.
Okay, here's the thing. Even if there's a minor risk that kids might spread COVID, okay, even if there's a minor risk, even if it's less of a risk than adults, and they decide to, and parents decide to put masks on their kids, why is that so triggering? Why is that so upsetting? Even if that risk is so minor, okay, even if that risk is so minor, the other side of that argument is still in the right. If someone says, hey, can you please make sure that your kid has a fucking mask? Like, I don't want to get COVID. That side still has a more legitimate claim to ask you to put a fucking mask on your kid than the other side does. Just because kids are less likely to spread COVID does not mean that they still can't spread COVID. And in the middle of a pandemic, motherfuckers don't want to take risks. Why are you getting upset at motherfuckers who are risk averse? And the beautiful part about this is that conservatives are so fucking lost in the sauce of American individualism that they fail to recognize that people who are mask wearing are doing it for them. Okay? When you go outside and you wear a mask, you're doing it for others. You're not doing it for yourself. Okay? The impact is for your fellow American, for your fellow man. The most tangible, the most immediate consequence of mask wearing is to protect others, because you don't know if you have COVID or not, and you don't want to spread it to other people. That's it. You're being kind to others. When you get sick, you're supposed to wear a mask. When you get sick, you're supposed to avoid other people. But Americans are so fucking stupid and so hog-like, conservatives, that is, that they literally are like, you're isolating yourself after you got fucking sick, dude? What are you, a pussy? Come in, kiss me right now. Kiss me. Give me the fucking disease right now. It's actually child abuse that you're fucking literally avoiding other people because you're sick right now. That's literally child abuse. And that's why other countries like South Korea, dumpster and dumpster us in comparison to our COVID response. Because it's baked into their understanding that if you're sick, you're supposed to wear a fucking mask. Incredible stuff.
Seeing bare faces. That's what it's got to. And I think you're right. There's like a mental illness element to this, where there are people now in this country, perhaps millions of adults, who are scared to see a bare face, even on a 2-year-old child. And so they say, cover that face because it makes me feel better. And that's.
And the reason why he's making that up right now, the reason why he's like making that up is because it would sound really stupid if he argued against the point I'm making, which is the real reason why people are careful. So he has to be like, yeah, we want to fucking libs want to make you cover your baby's face. I'm going to make an imaginary grievance here out of nothing because the real grievance is kind of stupid if I were to just advocate on the actual terms that I'm legitimately upset about, which is adults not fucking wearing masks indoors when it is clear that that is something that is a necessity. Well, then I would look like a fucking clown ass. So I'm just going to say, we want your babies to be covered outdoors in public when you're around other people, when you're not even around other people.
We cannot cooperate with that. We should react to that with outrage and absolutely refuse to do it. I've got a daughter who's almost 2 years old. No way in hell am I putting a mask on her, period, anywhere, under any circumstance. And if you ask me to do it, you're not going to get a very polite response. And I think that should be our approach.
Sick, bro. Fuck yeah, dude. You're so fucking sick, dude.
Seem like we've internalized, and by we, I don't mean Republicans or conservatives. I just mean like normal people who remember what the country was like.
Yeah, I've never seen a 2-year-old with a mask on. The CDC does not say that 2-year-olds should wear masks, by the way, for the record. If there's any sort of confusion there, it's not a real thing, okay? I think it's 4 years and above. And in certain circumstances, regardless, doesn't even fucking matter. We're talking about outdoor mask wearing. And the new CDC guidelines very clearly dictate or very clearly specify that as long as you're completely around like other vaccinated people, you don't even need to fucking wear a mask outdoors now if you are fully vaccinated. Now, I don't know what Matt Walsh thinks about vaccinations. I'm sure because he's a fucking psychopathic, weirdo Christian fundamentalist, I'm sure he also believes that vaccinations are the devil's semen being injected deep into my veins. They're coursing through my veins, brother, making me giving me the heebie-jeebies. I don't want that devil's semen in me. Like Lil Nas X. It must be a slow content day for him if he's having people on who's still upholding the idea that masks restrict airflow. I mean, he's never stopped. They're so
months
stupid.
Ago, have internalized the framework that other people have written for us. So, like, if you don't want to go along with destroying your children, then you're the freak. Why does nobody...
Destroying your children? How? How is mask wearing bad? At least Matt Walsh had the fucking idiocy, or rather, I guess from an argumentative point of view, the decency to throw out fake information as to why masks are bad. Tucker doesn't even do that. He just completely avoids describing why mask wearing is a genuine burden and a problem and child abuse. He just says it's child abuse, and the sycophants that hang on every dumbass word that this fucking dipshit has to say will say, yep, that's right, brother, it is child abuse. Why? Why is it fucking child abuse, dude? Shut the fuck up, commie. Search for emotional impact. Well, how? What? What about t-shirts, motherfucker? What about shoes? There's deep emotional impact with me making sure my fucking child wears shoes. Okay? You don't understand it. Every time I see a no shoes, no shirt, no service, I cry. I shed a tear, brother. The emotional impact, brother. You are a pussy, okay? If mask wearing has ruined your fucking life, then you are a pussy, and you should be thanking civilization every fucking day that you can survive, because in any other circumstance, you would have been owned, okay? You are the rat in the subway that gets stepped on, if that's your fucking POV. Oh, the emotional impact of wearing a mask, brother, it fucking hurts my face.
get right back in the face of these demands to Kamala Harris or Fauci or the local school board and say, no, no.
The emotional impact of forcing me to wear a coat in the winter. Why does nobody talk about this? Here's the thing. This is not even a one-to-one comparison, specifically because a coat in the winter offers you heat, and mask wearing is literally for other people's benefit, more so than your personal benefit. It's not a protective magical barrier that stops you from getting COVID when people sneeze on you or cough on you. It is more so that if you have COVID and you cough, you don't give it to other people. Okay? But this is no different than fucking crying about people putting jackets on their children when it's cold out.
No, you're the freak. And what you're doing is outrageous and it's criminal. And I demand you to be ashamed of what you're doing. I've never heard anybody say that.
I think this just speaks to the power that the left has to change. It's not just changing the conversation. They could change the way people think about things in a really fundamental way, and they can do it quickly. I mean, we know that they've convinced a lot of people, for example, that, you know, men are women and women are men. I mean, they have the capacity to do this. But with the mask thing, they've done it so quickly that now, you know, I had the same experience you're talking about. I was in Austin a few days ago, and I'm walking outside without a mask on, and people are staring at me like I'm the crazy one for not having a mask on. Yeah. Meanwhile, if you're walking outside with a mask on, I should be looking at you, and I do look at you like I would look at a grown man hugging a teddy bear and having a pacifier in his mouth while he's walking down the street. This is your security blanket. There's no reason for you to have it on. You're just afraid. You're afraid of fresh air. That's what's happening. People are afraid to breathe air, and we're making it so that kids are afraid of air too, and that's insane to me.
I agree with you completely. I would even actually up the analogy and say a vaccinated person, someone with antibodies wearing a mask outside is like watching a grown man expose himself in public. That's disgusting. Put it away, please. We don't do that here. Anyway, Matt Walsh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Micaiah Walsh was in the process of stabbing another child when a police officer...
Okay, that's... Oh, remember Matt Walsh, by the way, who said 12-year-old victims of rape should be forced to have their children? Because abortion is that immoral? That's Matt Walsh. Thank you, Pablo, man. I was thinking, like, what's the craziest fucking thing that Matt Walsh had said? Why Tucker Carlson is 100% correct on masks. Wow. There's... Aren't they using similar arguments when it comes to the hijab? They do, I think. Yeah, like the French secularist or laïcité. Is that how you say it? I don't fucking know. Anyway, it's the same argument. It's like hijabs are not worn by people who want to like personally fucking wear the hijab, but instead like they're forced to wear it, and that's why we should literally stop women from wearing the hijab. Okay, let's take a quick break from that psychotic nonsense about like how mask wearing is killing your children, literally, to whatever this is.
Fucking snobs here in America to say you guys, anyone who's not blocked would know that some fucking loser, some snob was like, oh my god, she's eating a potato, she has problems. Like, I don't see the problem. I think that eating a fucking potato is actually really great. Like, it's fucking real food, okay? It's real food, it's filling, it's, for me, it's low in calories. Like, go fuck yourself. Who the fuck do you think you are? It's like, to me, it's like sinful to make fun of food. Like, how would you like to not have food? I'm sure someone out there would love to have a fucking potato. You fucking bitch. Psycho. Go eat your fucking nasty processed food, okay? And I will sit here and...
Is she raw dogging a potato? Like, not even baked? Tell me it's at least baked, right? I mean, baked potatoes are delicious. I love baked potatoes. I'm a big fan of baked potatoes. But baked potatoes without anything in it is kind of sus. Like, you're just not even going to salt it? You know what I mean? You're not going to salt it at all? Like, there's literally nothing you're going to put on it? Like, fuck it, I love potatoes. Like, I'll at least have, like, baked potatoes with salt if I have literally nothing else. Nah, bro, it's rustic.
Be creative in my head and like think about what foods are like good and gonna fill me up and are low in calorie. Fucking bitch, that pissed me off so much. Like, what kind of a fucking moron are you? Anyway, I love eating baked potatoes just plain. Not only fills me up, it's like
Bro, motherfuckers be like Irish people are POC and then do this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is incredible Caucasian behavior, proving once again that Irish people are Caucasian, or white.
it's a potato. Like there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like it's so like primal, like primitive.
I love baked potatoes too. I fuck with potatoes. I'm a huge fan. Okay, I'm a huge fan. But this is some fucking weird shit, dude. Why are you? Where's the butter? Put something in it. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Just straight up inhaling a raw potato is... Whew. Who the fuck are you to judge her? I mean, just straight up taking a potato raw is kind of weird, dude. Sorry.
Like it's so something that like people have been eating since like fucking I don't even know when, like since like we weren't here. I don't even fucking know what the answer is, but like it's a fucking potato and it's amazing. Like I think it's great if like people like eat like this. I think it's just neat.
Maybe she likes the taste you like, food people others don't like. Don't be a meanie Ozuni. It's time, by the way. Inhale potato, nice. One, it's ingest, noob. Yeah, I don't understand this. I like potatoes. I love potatoes, dude. Taters. Potatoes in every fucking variation that's not raw is delicious. Okay, you can do a lot with a potato. But raw dogging it is kind of wild. It's not as crazy as like I mean, it's not as crazy though. Like it's not like I feel like eating like biting into a raw onion like an apple is weirder than this. You know what I mean? It's like still baked potato. Sorry, I meant raw dogging like as in with no like additives. There's no raw dogging here implies that it's she's eating it without like ketchup or anything. You know what I mean? She's like I don't mean that she's eating it raw. It's baked. I know. If it was raw, it would be fucking weird. Are you trying to neg this girl so she'll fuck you? Ew, dude. Ew. Absolutely not. Listen, guys, I don't hide my Coomer behavior. If I find someone attractive, you'll know. I do not find her attractive. I bet you put raisins in potatoes? Absolutely not. Please tell me she's memeing. I don't think so. I think she's just very, really real about. She's keeping it 100. The irony of the statement of potatoes being eaten forever is that potatoes are not necessarily an old thing and were originally considered bad and poisonous, which they technically can be. So in order to get people to eat them, they were planted in a king's garden to encourage thieves to steal and eat them. What are you, the fucking potato lore master? Why do you know this? Did you just make that up, dude? Motherfuckers out here just straight potato pilled. Probably Irish. I bet they teach potato history in school. Is that a part of the Irish core curriculum, dude? Is that what they teach in Irish schools? I learned about this in Irish middle school. You don't understand. What you're doing right here is being patophobic or potato-phobic. I've learned about this since I was a wee child. It's sick. Who is this person? Someone's saying she's got like a hella anti-mask rhetoric. Ever since I almost got murdered by a rogue potato, I'm a little bit more fearful of potatoes. Sorry. Irish people didn't even eat unsalted potatoes during the fucking potato famine. Potatoes are from the New World, but I've heard the same story about tomatoes being poisonous, to be honest. I do love taters. I'm a fan, dude. I love potatoes. We have kumpir in Turkey, where we have baked potatoes that we cut, and then we just fucking put so much shit in it. It's awesome. Like Russian salad dressing, fucking different like meats, like sausage, shit like that. You know, ketchup, mayonnaise, so good. Corn, cheese, loaded baked potatoes. Russian salad dressing is like, how would I describe it? It's like, what's the other one? Russian one just has added meat into it. This is the lady. Her name is HRH Collection. This week's vibe. New G-Wagon, who cares? 52 minutes.
Followers I have, I get like an abnormal amount of hate. Like, I just no idea. I mean, I'm told even, like, by people who have like a bigger following than me, they're like, I just don't understand how you get so much hate, like, in comparison to everyone else. Like, everyone loves to hate me so much. I don't know what it is. Like, you guys hate like so.
Dude, oh god, she's really fucking. She's like, she's just perfect. She's like the perfect person to hate. I totally see why people hate on her. She's just awful, dude. Like, one look, I'm like, oh god, I can't stand it. Don't question me.
Hey guys, what's up? Okay, so today I'm gonna start a little bit differently, and to be honest, I already filmed this part, but it got fucking dark, so I'm starting over. I'm so annoyed, so if I sound like I've already said something or it sounds weird, that's why. I also have a stain on my hand from sleeping on my tan. I want to get it out of the way, okay? Anyway, here we go. I want to start out with my earrings. You guys know I'm all so obsessed with ear stacks, and I have another collection that incorporates the diet sodas and the gold cubes perfectly. You guys are loving my diet sodas, and a lot of you guys have the golden cubes. They're so, I love them. Okay,
this is terrible. We got to get back to the news. This was a horrible break. I'm sorry. Okay, I can't even do that. That's too much. That's too much. Jesus Christ. Sorry, boys. Sorry I subjected you to that for a second. You know what I'm saying? That was...
of confidence. The cock of the walk, baby. Tucker Carlson is trending right now, this very second, because he had some commentary on masks, more specifically on...
Like, that lady is the reason why people hate California. Like, people that are not from California or haven't lived in California think everyone that lives in LA acts, looks, and behaves exactly like that. It's terrible.
Forcing children to wear masks, and people are now saying that he's a national health hazard. Here you go.
As for forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing...
I love when conservatives are being hysterical and insane. They still somehow find a way to make the other side's criticisms actually the hysterical ones. You know, they portray the other side as hysterical always. It's like, bitch, you're losing your mind over kids wearing a mask. If you're at any given point, if you see a child wearing a mask, call the authorities, call the cops, call the Child Protective Services, call them often until they come and arrive and rip that mask off that fucking child's face and rip the child away from the safety of the parents who are very clearly abusing them. Like, Tucker Carlson would say that, and Steve Crowder will still find a way to be like, that's obviously a normal thing that Tucker said. It's crazy that liberals are overreacting once again. That's insane, dude. That is insane. Like, this is a unhinged psychopathic rant. If I was a conservative, I would avoid talking about this rant rather than doubling down and being like, actually, you guys are silly for saying this is crazy.
Mass as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you are morally obligated.
We already saw this stuff.
That is please take off your mask.
Now, look, I've had criticisms for Tucker Carlson before, namely that, you know, he had the bow tie and then he got rid of it and then he acts like it never happened. It's like, we remember the bow tie.
We didn't forget.
But he's absolutely right here. I don't understand how this is an outrage. Again, keep in mind that Tucker Carlson there said, please tell them peacefully, be respectful, that they should remove. Now, he's just imploring you to do what the left does.
Yeah.
Only to do it more politely.
What? Only to do it more politely? Bro, he literally said, call the fucking cops if you see a kid wearing a mask, dude. Like, I'm so... The brain rot is so nuclear, dude. If you watch this and you go, this is great, like, I do believe that there's a moral obligation for me to kidnap a child if I see the child wearing a fucking mask and, you know, hide them in my basement. I do have that moral obligation. Tucker Carlson told me so. Like, if this is a reasonable response to seeing a child wearing a fucking mask in public, then you're too far gone, okay?
This is not like Maxine Waters saying, find them at the diners and mess up their day. Whatever it is that she said.
Department store.
She called people to violence repeatedly. He's saying, peacefully ask people if they are outside wearing a mask that it offends you, that they should remove it because it's stupid.
Yeah, it's beyond stupid.
It is beyond stupid. I will say this, though. It's really valuable. I've talked about how sort of, you know, when people talk about wars today, where it's not necessarily nation versus nation.
The best part about that, I need them to just like somehow try to make it seem like it's manly to call the cops when you see a kid wearing a mask. Is like, that will complete it for me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's already masculine energy and it's already like the patriotic thing to do to call the cops when you see a kid wearing a mask, obviously, because, you know, conservatives said it, because it hurts their feelings. But now on top of that, I need them to like somehow say like it's actually the masculine thing to do. Like, fucking dude, pissing, shitting, and farting when you see a child wearing a mask in fear and literally calling the cops over and over again until someone shows up, demanding that they arrest this man who made their child wear a mask. That's the cool thing to do, actually. That is the masculine, manly thing to do. That's what real men do.
Yeah, at least back in the day, you look at like the Pacific Theater, right? It's like you knew Americans, and because there was like a 1 foot height difference. But you had team jerseys. The masks now act as team jerseys. If I see someone out in like out in a park or alone in their car with a mask, I know they're not my friend.
Probably don't have anything in common. I think the problem with what he said, though, was calling Child Protective Services. I know he's trying to make a point. I don't think he actually expects you to call Child Protective Services, but seeing a kid getting beat by their parents and having a mask on, it's a little different. So I think he left himself open for a bit of critique on that.
I think he put that out there so that people would bite on that.
I know, but
I think he wants to see himself trending on Twitter.
Oh, he was just, he was just pretending. Guys, he was just, he was a bit too far with that take. Calling the cops is one thing, but Child Protective Services, that's where I draw the line. That's a little too far. That was just bait, dude.
Twitter this morning.
Yeah, probably so. Look, good press for him is just people being mad at him right now.
Now, specifically, he was talking about children wearing masks, right? Yeah. Now, because of YouTube's policies, especially you, Gerald, we cannot say at all that masks are unnecessary for kids.
Right.
Or, again, we've had COVID videos removed because at one point Gerald wrongfully said that COVID was less lethal than the common flu to young people. Wrongfully.
Oh my God.
I would never say that masks for children are useless. I would never say that. I would never reflect any statistical realities that may compare it to the flu. The good thing is I don't have to. CDC, thank you. There you go. So
that's not us. That's them.
That was the
CDC.
Center for Disease Control in the United States.
Right.
That agent.
Wait, what was that they flashed? I'm so confused. Okay. They're saying that it doesn't they're saying that kids don't die from COVID at the same rates that old people do. Yeah, we know that. Does he think that this isn't about transmission rates? This is just kids. This is a data set that is completely unrelated to the fucking argument that he is trying to make. The argument should be that the transmission rates from kids to adults is super low. And that needs to be carefully conducted. That needs to be a carefully conducted study of children that are around adults and are on a regular basis. You know what I mean? He's basically just saying kids, only 626 kids have died. So, that's it. The kids don't die because masks are supposed to magically create a barrier where you survive COVID. No, that's not an argument that anyone's ever made. I can't believe I'm repeating myself once again. You wear a mask so you don't transmit, so you don't give other people COVID because you might have COVID without recognizing that you have it. Not the other way around. It can also provide a protective barrier, but it's limited. Okay? Kids can still give COVID. Kids can still be carriers and give COVID to adults. That's the real problem. It's this part of the graph that's a problem. Luckily, all of this data is slowly but surely turning more positive or showing more positive results as a consequence of the vaccines. Okay? Regardless, though, if you're outside, there are new CDC guidelines because there are so many people that are vaccinated. There are new guidelines from the CDC. That is constantly changing. So, like I said, none of this has anything to do with the argument that they're making. I find it very weird that this is what he's stating.
That's not us. That's them.
That was the
CDC.
Center for Disease Control in the United States.
Right.
That agent. Just making sure.
The experts.
I don't know. Who's going to fact check them?
Yeah.
World Health Organization?
Yeah, it'll change in a minute.
We know it won't be Taiwan.
Yeah, when we was in New York last week, everybody on the street had on masks.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Well, even the homeless people had masks on.
Well, the good thing is,
and what a bunch of pussies, dude. Can't believe they were fucking wearing masks, dude.
Makes them harder to identify when they commit homicide. We'll get to it in a second. A drastic increase in homicide. We're back to Denkins levels. By the way, despite all of the data from the CDC on COVID, hey, Michigan is still enacting this toddler mask policy.
Oh, good.
Yeah, anyone who's over 2 years old. Good luck with that. Good luck with dealing with the...
Wait, what? Mask mandate goes into kids. A mask mandate effect. Michigan is getting obliterated by COVID still, from what I understand. Right? I remember the governor asking for more vaccines in Michigan because it's still a hotbed for COVID, and that they didn't have enough. They didn't have enough vaccines in the state. But cases have gone down recently. Yeah, but in comparison to the rest of the United States, and in comparison to other states that are doing really well, like California is crushing it. There's no two ways about it, okay? California is absolutely fucking cumstering and dumpstering COVID currently. That might have something to do with the temperature. That might have something to do with the climate. But it's certainly the biggest component here is vaccines. Okay? It is. Vaccines are carrying California away from like COVID being a serious problem. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, beginning on Monday 26th, the mask mandate is also going to apply to children between the ages of 2 and 4. Earlier this month, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services extended that new requirement. Even from the fall, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that says kids 2 and older should be wearing masks to begin with. So this is an out of the blue left field kind of thing. Data recently has shown an increase in children as more adults are getting vaccinated and this UK variant is spreading in the state. It's a lot more contagious. So yes, there's a still small amount of spread in schools and daycares, but anything we can do to help that kind of mitigate that spread even further is going to help. Hornick is also the president of the Michigan chapter of American Academy of Pediatrics. He says parents should not be concerned about young children and toddlers wearing face masks, as there is no evidence that they will be harmful. They're safe to wear if you're changing them out. You're not wearing the same mask every day. There's really no risk of getting bacteria or anything like that. There's no change in oxygen level. But part of it's also trying to find the right size mask. So a 3-year-old should not be wearing an adult mask. They should be wearing children's masks. Then we teach them and encourage them to do the best they can. Young people are driving the latest COVID-19 surge, especially in Michigan. We're seeing more and more young people get into serious trouble, Dr. Anthony Fauci says. We're now entering our 4th week of increased trends in cases. Trend in data has been indicating that cases are increasing nationally as we are seeing this occur predominantly in younger adults. Many outbreaks in young people are related to youth sports and extracurricular activities that involve their parents. Part of the problem is that Americans have become less afraid of catching COVID-19, even though slightly less than a fifth of the country's population has been fully vaccinated. This was April 6th. The biggest decline was 21% of people among people over 65, the group most likely to be vaccinated. There were also big drops in the percentages of people worried about catching the virus in the 18 to 44, 44 to 64 groups, the poll showed. COVID-19 outbreaks have shut down daycare centers in Nebraska and Wisconsin and caused cases to quadruple in at least one Connecticut town. In states like Florida, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, the number of younger people in hospital COVID-19 wards is on the rise. Why are people trying to recall our governor when we were doing so well with vaccinations and COVID? It's conservatives that have been pushing for that for a while now. So, okay. Has vaccine rollout been good in California? Really good. Really, really good. What we are seeing is the patients in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. Okay, so there's an increase in younger people getting COVID and spreading COVID and even going to hospitals as a consequence of getting COVID. So that's why the Health and Human Services of that specific state has decided to take precautions against this new increase in spread. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to react to new trends.